Omelette Man's song hides some rather disturbing secrets. What did Upwards hide in the cafeteria? What is the real recipe for the cookie? But more importantly, what happened to these three characters? Get ready, friends, because what we're going to discover today won't let you sleep. For those who don't know Dark Pals, we're talking about a horror game where Upwards is the company that uses characters, songs, and colorful settings to hide much darker things inside its facilities. In this game, just like in many others of this type, you have to solve riddles and puzzles, and among these, we find the most disturbing one of all, making a cookie. But it's not just any cookie. In the cafeteria, the Omelette Man's song tells us how to make it. It sounds like a normal riddle until you start connecting the recipe with the posters you find around the cafeteria, the monsters, and the supposed ingredients. And if you think about it, the cafeteria isn't really a riddle. Rather, it seems to be a crime scene. The song only appears as a guide, but the recipe itself is too strange and unsettling. Because if you think about it, the ingredients we use to make the cookie seem to be connected to some characters in the game. But the strangest thing is that when the cookie is ready, it causes hallucinations. But why? If it's supposed to be just blackberries, banana, and white chocolate, and something key is that the song doesn't appear in just one way, it has three versions. The first one sounds like a normal, very catchy children's song. The second one already feels a bit stranger because it repeats too much. It's like the game wants the melody stuck in your head. But the third one is the key to everything. There, it no longer sounds like just a simple song. In this version, we already have the supposed recipe for the blueberry, banana, and white chocolate cookie. It feels like the first one distracts you, the second one conditions you, and the third one gives you instructions. That's why we must watch the Omelette Man's video from a different perspective. There are three figures next to him, a girl, a boy, and a gorilla. They all look happy, as if they were part of a commercial for kids. The song sounds cheerful and everything seems safe, but that's the version that Upwards wants us to see. Because when we get to the posters in the cafeteria, those same characters no longer tell the same story. If you look closely, they're the same characters as in the video, and they appear happy. But in the cafeteria, they appear damaged and very scared. This is because the video doesn't show what really happened. It's just a lie that Upwards used to hide the truth. Before looking at the posters, we need to know who the three creatures behind them are. Chompy Chasey. He's the monstrous dog of the facility. He's huge, aggressive, and has dangerous teeth. Dinky Drinky. He's a mascot from Upwards, with a childlike appearance, but with a much more grotesque body that's connected to the environment. And Fortune Dweller, who is an aggressive entity. And the thing is, Chompy, Blinky, and Fortune Dweller didn't just appear on the posters for no reason. They're important creatures in the game. And each one seems to be connected to one of the characters, as if they're telling what happened to each of them. The first poster is of the girl. She appears with blueberries. In the regular recipe, blueberries are the ingredient that gives the cookie its color. But in the poster, she doesn't look happy. She has red eyes, a torn dress, and a mark on her arm as if something had bitten her. And right behind her is Chompy Chasey with his mouth open. Apparently, Chompy might be connected to what happened to the girl. Maybe he bit her so she would obey Upwards' instructions. Something similar happens with the gorilla. He appears with bananas. And the banana is the base of the cookie, like the main part of the recipe. But the gorilla doesn't look happy. In fact, he looks scared. And in the background, Binky appears, hidden in the jungle. This could suggest that the gorilla's meat was used instead of the banana as the base of the cookie. And with the boy, the connection is even clearer. He appears associated with the white chocolate, which is the topping of the cookie. But just like the girl and the gorilla, he has red eyes, a scar, and messy hair. And behind him appears Fortune Dweller. And we have to remember that this monster is related to eyes, and the only ingredient missing is the chocolate. So, if Fortune Dweller appears behind the boy, It tells us which part of him they used for the recipe. The game doesn't tell us directly what happened to the girl, the gorilla, and the boy, but it does leave a pattern that's all too clear. Each character was used as an ingredient. And all of this connects to the evil son. Have you ever wondered why an evil son? Well, you see, in the theater, the son first appears as an innocent and childlike friend. But when Upward's true face is revealed, its expression changes, as if there's something they're hiding. That's why it appears on the posters, watching from behind the characters, as if it represents the false version of happiness that Upwards uses to cover up what it did. And there, the recipe splits in two, the pretty one with blueberry, banana, and white chocolate, and the dark one that has chompy extract, spoiled meat, and eyes. So, if we put all this together, it means the girl is connected to the blueberry, the color of the recipe, and behind her, Chompy appears. Then we find Chompy extract occupying that same spot. The gorilla is connected with the banana, which is the base of the cookie. And Pinky appears on his poster. In the real recipe, that banana base is actually replaced with spoiled gorilla meat. And the boy is connected with the white chocolate, the topping. Well, Fortune Dweller appears behind him. And the chocolate, which would be the little boy's eyes. And several of those ingredients are not in plain sight. They are in areas where only authorized personnel can enter. But how? Why? They're just cookies, don't you think? That's where Omelette Man comes in. He doesn't look like the monster. He's more like the friendly mascot who sings, smiles, and guides you, so that no one would suspect the atrocities that Upwards was committing. Also, something that many completely overlooked is that, right when you have the ingredients for the cookie, something very suspicious happens during the process. You choose what to put in and activate the machine. Okay, so far so good. But the cookie isn't finished in front of you. It goes into an area we can't see, as if the most important part of the process had to be hidden. And that, my friends, I don't think is a good thing. Because if the recipe were normal, there would be nothing to hide. They let us choose the ingredients, but they never let us see what they add at the end. And when we finally eat the cookie, the game practically confirms that it wasn't normal food, because the character doesn't just get dizzy or feel sick. He starts hallucinating and ends up losing consciousness. And inside that hallucination, the cookie appears with eyes and tries to attack us. That detail is just too weird, if you ask me. Because the dark topping we found earlier was also eyes, and the boy from the poster was connected to Fortune Dweller. So, what did they really make us eat? Well, my friends, this theory doesn't just come out of nowhere. We actually have clues, and so far we have a song that gives an alleged recipe. We have 3 ingredients. And interestingly, there are also 3 characters in the video, 3 pretty strange posters, and of course, 3 monsters. Then, the cookie is finished off camera. It makes us hallucinate and appears with eyes. So, maybe the Omelette Man's song was never hiding the truth. Maybe he was just telling us about the whole crime, but as if it were a children's song. The worst part is that, if we're right, then we didn't just solve a simple cafeteria riddle. We ended up repeating that horrible recipe. The game forces us to look for the ingredients. The song tells us which one to use. The posters seem to warn us about what happened to those characters. And even so, we followed the recipe to the end. Upwards didn't just hide a terrifying crime. It turned it into a song and a cookie. And we ate the evidence. The sickest part is that it was all in front of us from the beginning. So, tell me, did the cookie make us hallucinate, or did it just show us what we really ate? We'll be reading your comments, and we'll see you in the next video.